Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday meeting of Aquaholics Anonymous. I will be the meeting leader, your host, Fisher Fever, James. Appreciate you all being here. Of course, I've got Chattanooga Ed with me, the co-host with the most, as another buddy of mine would say. Ed, thank you for joining me as always. It's great talking to you, buddy. So I have got an interesting topic for tonight, and we are not going to really get into the reasons behind, what is going on in 2020. Everybody's pretty much aware of the current health issues, and YouTube doesn't like us talking about that. And we're definitely not going to get political on anything, but it's hard. It would be hard to say that 2020 has not been a bit different in terms of fish keeping. Of course, it's impacted life in general. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of the journey that Ed and I have had this year, get some feedback from you all as well on how things may have changed for you in the hobby, and what we're potentially looking at as aquarists or hobbyists going into 2021. Before we do that, though, I didn't even tell Ed about this, but I kind of want to offer everybody a quick apology. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm still fairly new on YouTube. I've been doing it about 15, 16 months. And this kind of does play into the topic of tonight. We're homeschooling the kids now. A lot has happened. Everybody is home all the time at this point. And that has definitely had an impact on my YouTube videos. And that's why I bring it up, because I have, people have said, well, are you quitting YouTube? You cut back. LRB put out an interesting video. He's like, quitting YouTube. Of course he's not. And that's LRB Aquatics. But he was I could relate a lot to what he said. I've gotten on this weird, almost vampiric nighttime third shift schedule, and things are just crazy. And I try and film at home during the day, and the kids are just, running amok. I've got two little boys, 7 and 9. So it's made things interesting, but I do want to assure everybody I'm not going anywhere, and I am doing some workarounds to ensure that I can get quality videos out to you all on a more regular basis. I'd like to release one every Tuesday at the minimum, along with a members only video or live stream, which we did do a members only live stream, and it didn't quite work out, I guess is the best way to put it. On YouTube, members only stuff is still in beta mode. So it doesn't really share out. I post a community tab that shares to the members, but we had one person show up, Rico Stan. That was great. I know you're lurking, Rico. I appreciate you hanging out with us. And he came up on the screen and we chatted, but we will definitely be doing some more stuff like that, but I will try and do it in a different way that it gets notifications out to all of you all. Cause I think a lot of you all probably didn't even know it happened. I mentioned we were going to do it, and then you're probably like, you didn't do the live stream. We did it, but I don't think YouTube told anybody about it. So that was what I wanted to start with. My apologies. Things have been crazy. Looks like John and Lisa have wrapped theirs up. I do want to say a huge thank you to them. They typically do a send over, and I do greatly appreciate that. That has been a phenomenal help and a blessing to the channel and myself, as well as Chattanooga Ed. I'm sure you've had some impact from that. So thank you to John and Lisa. We're going to talk a little bit about them and Fishkeeping.com here shortly. So Ed, what would you say the biggest change for you this year would be in terms of fish keeping with the current situation versus a typical year?
Yeah, this has been a wild year, really. It was a lot of fun to start off, and then it all got really crazy.
It did.
But I mean, in my whole life of fish keeping, I would have to say this is probably the most fish I've ever had in my life. The most I've grown as a fish keeper, and yet so many things got halted and stopped this year. It was insane. I never planned on being a YouTuber.
Right.
I'm just a guy that likes to have fun, and I like going to conventions and talking fish. And it was a lot of fun at the beginning of this year when James quit his job that he was a manager at and just started hanging out all the time. We were going to go to conventions, I think, every week. It was going to be a lot of fun. And so many things happened that we weren't able to. But the one that we did, the one major, I don't know if it would be a major minor convention, is the Big Fish Deal at Capital City. And they were the first on the slate. And luckily, they got theirs in. like a week before everything kind of went crazy. And James and I went to that, and we had an absolute blast. So a lot of people were still scared off, and a lot of the YouTubers. So James and I got to feel like bigger wheels than what we really are, and it was a lot of fun.
It was.
And you know, and we were talking about this earlier because we used to do the schedule of events, and this year I just gave up on it because there's no events to tell you guys about. And so I started writing it. I'm starting it again for next year. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. And I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, we were talking about something. I don't know what it was. Never mind.
You're good, buddy. So yeah, absolutely. The Big Fish deal was actually my first aquarium-related event that I had ever gone to, and it was definitely a blast for me. Like you said, some of the other channels that were much larger than us ended up not going because it was just at the beginning of the health issues. So understandably, they backed out, and we really did. We kind of got treated like we were somebody, so to speak, when we're really just a couple of goofy guys with cameras and a YouTube channel, and it was fun. I want to say real quick, a huge thank you to S with $2 super chat. It says prepaid party popper. Here you are, S. Always great to see you. I appreciate the super chat. And then we have Mike's Aquatics and Things with some fertilizer on the stream, dropping the $1 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike. Hope you're doing well, brother. Appreciate you being here. I do want to let you all know, please feel free to throw any fish-related questions you have into the chat. You can put at Fishroom Fever. Words are hard. And that will highlight for me so I can call those out. And also let us know, what's been going on with you this year. How has this year potentially been different for you as a fish keeper versus some previous years? We're going to talk about things like local fish stores, online operations, both, corporate, I guess, if you will, and, mom and pop, things like KG Tropicals, Fishkeeping.com. Of course, we talk about Aquarium Co-op and ways you can support different companies given everything that's going on right now. You roll down through here, make sure I haven't missed anything highlighted. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you being here. We've got 103 watching, 52 thumbs up. So thank you for that very much. Support is always appreciated. Hello, Edgar Reyes. See, Chewy LTD, how's it going? Just grabbing the highlighted stuff. Kimberly Bryant says, my daughter has a 5-gallon tank with 3 guppies in it, and she keeps getting white mold-like stuff in corners. Any ideas what it might be? White mold in the corners.
The fish tank?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's above water or submerged. I'm assuming it's just above the water. I have seen.
Well,
go ahead.
I've seen with the dirted bottoms, sometimes you'll get a growth that'll come up through the sand. I've noticed right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And I clean that out and it's gone. It doesn't come back. And I don't know if it's just so much stuff being ate up, right away, that it's like some type of algae or, something growing out real quick, or a bacteria, but it normally goes away real quick. Unless she's talking about out of the water, and I mean, then it could be a whole mess of things.
Generally, I've only seen it out of the water, and I've only seen it when I've been clumsy with the fish food. So if I've gotten some fish food maybe on the rim, or I guess you could get it maybe in a top corner somewhere, possibly. More information would be helpful because I'm not entirely sure what it is you're describing to us. Real quick, I want to grab this because Eric is going to bed. It says, Furlough's Aquatic with $5 super chat. Thank you, Eric Furlough. Says, just stopping by before bed. Hope y'all have an awesome night and stream. You get you some rest and don't let them work you too hard when you go back. I appreciate you swinging by, and thank you for the super chat, my friend.
James, we're Twinkies.
Aquarium Co-op. Gotta love it.
I was going to wear my red one, but the cat threw up on it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's how it goes. But that's funny.
Hello to Paul Sotero and Gina. Again, I'm just catching the highlighted stuff here. Christine Gauthier, which I still don't know if I'm saying that right or not, says, this year started my multi-tank syndrome, and now I also have more fish than I ever had. Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of that comes into play with people being stuck at home. If you were already into the hobby, it's definitely helped to facilitate getting deeper into the hobby. And a lot of people that, maybe were in the hobby years ago, they're sitting at home and they're going, it would be nice if I had a fish tank again over in this corner, something to enjoy while I'm stuck here. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It has definitely sped up the process of multi-tank syndrome into fish worm fever for myself.
Yeah, I've finished my fish room this year, and so I'm still. I mean, well, I shouldn't say finished because I still have about 25% to fill, but it's going well.
Absolutely. There it is. Agarea says, I'm assuming that's Marineland Penguin 3. Yeah, it would be Marineland Penguin 350 bio wheel, a good filter for a 75-gallon aquarium. I got 2 in my 75-gallon. So if you're going to go hang-on backs, yes, those are one of my favorite hang-on backs. I do modify them to remove the filter cartridges. They're certainly not a bad hang-on back in my opinion, and I have used them quite a lot. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the Aqua Clears because they have a much larger reservoir that you can tinker with and get a lot more media of your choosing in there. But if you've already got them, it's a great filter. I wouldn't say go out and spend money just to get rid of it.
Yeah, I like how the spinner or the engine is underwater.
Yeah, on the newer ones, they've got it down in the tank.
Sean Peck gave me one of the new ones.
Yeah.
And I've got it on my 75, but it's just staying alive on my 75. I'm like growing bacteria in it. It's going to actually go to my 55 once I get it running. So I like to keep filters going way before the tanks are ready for them.
Absolutely. And of course, without going into details on stocking as to whether or not that's sufficient, I think I've seen you around enough and talked to you enough to know that you're pretty up and up on knowing how much filtration you need. So, knowing that you have 2 of them, I'd say that you'll be just fine with that. If you find that that's not working, there are other options, but you're probably going to want to look into moving to a canister if you've got 2 of those hanging on the tank and they're still not doing the job. Not that I'm a fan of canisters, but they do have their place in the hobby. Delilah's Critters with $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Delilah. I hope you're doing well today. It is good to see you. It says 2020 has definitely been challenging for each of us, oftentimes in complete opposite ways. Sending my love and support to everyone. I appreciate that. Love and support right back to you. We've all had issues to deal with this year. It's definitely been interesting. And I'm just glad that we've got this community. I think that that's been a huge help, especially when we haven't been able to get out in public and get in the groups. Being able to sit here and talk to 120 some odd other fish keepers, not just sharing knowledge. It's not like Ed and I are experts. And we'll both be the first to tell you we don't claim to be experts. We just enjoy hanging out with you all talking fish. So it's great to have over 100 people here that we can talk fish with, and we can bounce ideas back and forth. We can group source answers for problems, and we're not totally isolated in our hobby by ourselves. New Tank Syndrome YEG, how is it going? Says this year I've noticed our LFS in Edmonton has had to buy from local breeders, but our local breeders raise more expensive breeds, drop price of premium fish, staple fish went up in price. Yes, so that has definitely been a huge impact. Of course, import issues, all of those wonderful things have caused shortages in not just fish, but also things like driftwood. It's Priscilla MK. But somebody the other was talking about trying to get spider wood and how hard it was to get spider wood for the local fish store. There have been a lot of impacts that have affected in stocks and pricing, which can make it difficult for new hobbyists and ongoing hobbyists alike trying to get what we want or what we need. And it's definitely been a challenge for the local fish stores. And I'm a huge supporter of Aquarium Co-op. Of course, they have an actual brick and mortar store out there in Washington. They have the online as well, but I try and do as much as I can with my local fish store. And I highly encourage anybody that does have a local fish store, support them as best you can, because times are tough for all businesses right now, but especially a fish store in this day and age. Things can get rough. So if you take away one thing from that, it would be, if you've got a local fish store, go check them out, try and give them some business. If you don't, there are great places like, of course, Aquarium Co-op. You've got John and Lisa have keepfishkeeping.com, things that are not corporate, so to speak. I would highly recommend that be kind of your second source. Go to people online that are not huge businesses, that are definitely going to feel an impact more than the big businesses. And then someone, I think it was Pew Fish Zone, brought up a great point earlier. If you are going to shop on Amazon and you have Prime, you have the option to help contribute and support a nonprofit organization with your purchases. You just sign up for that, and then when you go on there, it helps support those nonprofit organizations. One of those that you could do is Ohio Fish Rescue. So there's a great way, even if you are going to shop on Amazon, if you need to go the big business route. And I understand, I use Amazon too, and I'm not shaming anybody for doing so, so please don't take it that way. But if you are going to shop on Amazon, you can still help out, people in the hobby, and you can select Ohio Fish Rescue as the nonprofit organization that you would choose to support, or whatever. There, I'm sure, different shelters and things. But if you're not taking advantage of that opportunity to help somebody out while just doing what you would normally be doing anyway, I would definitely encourage you to do so. Hello to Multi-Tank Addiction says, hi, James and Ed. You know how my ear has been. White mold sounds like it might be a fungus. Yeah, it most definitely could be. It's good to see you, Chris. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Multi-Tank Addiction. Pink Sister Rena says, you and Ed need to add the Murphy hats to complete the twinsy set. Yes, I think my hat is in the other room. Plus, it kind of shades out when I put it on. I don't have my lighting angle properly set up for that. Like John was calling for makeup in his stream. I need the lighting team in here to fix that for me, and I'll put my hat on.
There. Oops.
Jonathan Ho says it perfectly in terms of the Marineland. A decent low flow filter, a decent low flow filter are the Marinas. Decent capacity and flow is nice and slow. Yeah, so if you're looking for something that's not going to stir the fish around, those are a good one. I tend to go with higher flow in mine, and that's just for the choices in fish I have and the way I have things set up. Of course, even in a very high flow tank, you want resting spots. I'll try not to digress too much on that. But, this 125-gallon tank I've got right across from me with these piranha in it, it has got a couple thousand gallons of flow going through there, but it's broken up and they've got resting spots. And they really enjoy it. They will get right in front of the power heads in groups and swim against that current. And then when they don't feel like it, they'll just break off into the slow water areas. Candy says, your glasses are on your head. You won't be able to read the chat, Ed. It did jump on me. I'm going to scroll back up here.
The problem with my glasses on my face is everything else makes me sick because it makes everything else blurry.
Absolutely. Tim Carter with $3 super sticker with big thumbs up pair. Tim, I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. I'm really enjoying talking to you and seeing the progression of your tank. I think you're doing an amazing job, and I appreciate your support and just enjoy the conversations we have. Thank you for the super sticker, my friend. Jonathan Host says, Fish for Fever, could 5 cribs be kept together in a heavily planted 20 long, 3 males and 2 females? I'm going to say you potentially could do it, but I fear that there's disaster waiting around the corner given just what I've seen with cribs. They have a tendency to just decide one day that they hate life and want to beat everything up. So you could probably get by with it, but I would definitely keep an eye on it. And I encourage everybody to look at their tanks on a daily basis. Even if it's not a tank that needs fed every day, just check out your fish, see how they're doing. Enjoy the fish. That's part of why we keep fish, or at least why I keep fish, is to enjoy observing them. So I would say you could give it a go and see how it works out for you, especially in a heavily planted. That's going to give some additional hiding spots. But just keep an eye out for aggression issues, because I feel like sooner or later that's going to catch up to you.
Melissa Foster asked me a personal question.
Okay.
It kind of made me laugh because I am from St. Louis originally, and the number one greeting in St. Louis when you first meet somebody for the first time, they ask, what high school did you go to? It's like everybody does it in St. Louis. And since I've moved, I have not been asked that till tonight. It's funny. But I went to Columbia, Illinois High School. We were the Eagles.
All
so
right.
It's just on the other side of the river from St. Louis.
Very nice.
It made me chuckle.
Do you have any thoughts on the Grabenzis question before I move on to the next?
No, I was thinking about high school.
Gotcha.
I've also been wanting to say, there could be good things about it. Could be like mystery snail eggs that are smushed up in there.
Could be.
And it could just be calcium, or lime, we just aren't for sure what it is.
Speaking of snails, Ed and I are going to be on his channel immediately after this, and we're going to be talking about different types of snails. That will be the topic for tonight. I think you're going to enjoy it. Ed does an amazing job researching these topics beforehand and looking up information and parameters for things. So be sure to hang out with us when we leave here and go straight into his in about 40 minutes. I think you're going to have fun with that. Rebecca Jackson says, I went from C, I'm imagining that's maybe 0 or 3, and it's an autocorrect, tanks to 4, a 55 tropical community, a 20 axolotl, a 10 dwarf frog molly tank, and a 5-gallon shrimp tank. That's an awesome spread. You've got the fish, the shrimp, the frogs, the axolotls. I mean, that's all the cool things. That is an awesome. If you're only going to have 4 tanks, and when I say only, I don't mean that in any way. But if I were to go back to only 4 tanks, I think that's an awesome spread of keeping a lot of really cool stuff. So I am grateful for the positives that it has had on the hobby. You can't, as horrible as the situation is, you can't say that there haven't been some positives. I know definitely the community here online has grown quite a bit since people have been forced to venture out electronically, if you will. So there are definitely some things positive that come from it. Not that they outweigh the negative, but getting more people back in the hobby, letting people expand on the hobby, those are wonderful things. 0 to 4, there it is. Yeah, I figured that was an autocorrect. So yeah, she went from 0 tanks to 4, and that's awesome. From not being in the hobby to having 4 tanks, that's fantastic. We're glad to have you with us. We could always use more fellow hobbyists, and we appreciate you being here on the stream. We've got over 100 people here. Thank you all for subscribing. That's been a phenomenal thing. The explosion in that has been great, and I really do appreciate it. We're at almost 2,200 subscribers here on the channel, which was not expected by the end of this year. So a huge thank you to each and every one of you all that is here, participating, lurking, listening, catching the replays. You all mean a great deal to me, and I appreciate that. Let's see, go through here. Mainly Bettas with $5 super chat says, look forward to seeing you two every week. Merry Christmas to you both and everyone in the chat. Hashtag buy from small business. Mainly Bettas, thank you for the $5 super chat. Could not agree with that hashtag more. That's exactly it. I've got, like I said, an amazing local fish store, Aquatic Marine. For those of you that are new to the channel, I have found that when the owner of that was on a couple weeks ago, that has been probably one of the most enjoyed live streams from the viewer's perspective. I've gotten a lot of really great comments, so I would encourage you to check that one out. It was a really good show, and people really enjoyed it. Thank you, Mainly Bettis, for that $5 super chat, and we look forward to seeing you every week. Let's see here.
Dragon Lair said that he saw Gary Lang tonight on the Mesa meeting live stream.
Oh, man.
That was actually the first meeting I ever went to. I met Gary Lang in person, and he was doing a speech. But, it was his club, because at St. Louis. And so I've actually seen him several times. It's kind of weird over the years. And awesome. I didn't know he was anything. I just thought, oh, this rainbow guy again. When are we going to get to talk about angelfish? Isn't that terrible? It was like we had the Cory cat guy and the rainbow cat guy. It was funny. And then it turned out they were like famous, and I was just a schmuck.
It's funny how that works out. It really, really is.
Yeah.
Justin Power says, this year I was able to become a new fish keeper, and I greatly appreciate your channel and the rest of the fish fam for taking time to make these videos to help educate me on the hobby. We appreciate you being here, and I'm glad once again to have another new fish keeper in the fold. Like I've said, we by no means consider ourselves authorities on anything. We speak off of personal experiences and what has and has not worked for us individually. And we certainly hope that helps. We always try and bring value. That's the key thing. We try and bring you value either through entertainment or information, hopefully a little mix of both. So appreciate you being here. It's always good to see you. Roll through here. It's going to jump. I knew it was going to jump on me because it paused. Every time I try and scroll and it pauses, it's going to jump. All right, I think. Yes. All right, perfect. I'm back. Sorry. Chat ran away. Kenny E with Daniken Aquatics fertilizing the stream with the $1 super chat. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. I'll tell you what, that was one of the great things that we got to do this year. For anybody that doesn't know, Daniken Aquatics did an around the country tour. Went to a whole lot of different fish fam people, did videos of their fish tanks. And along the way, he stopped here in Tennessee, met Chattanooga Ed and myself, actually picked us up, took him down to Florida with us, where we got to meet Father Fish, another fish tuber. He also owns a fish store down there in Florida. And we got to do some wild fish collecting, and then back up to Tennessee, and Daniken Aquatics went on his way. That's something that would not have happened for me, had we not been YouTubers, so to speak. Had we not been on this platform and in this community, if we hadn't expanded out into the digital world of fish keeping. So that's one of those memories that will stick with me for a long time, and I look forward to getting to see you again in the future, Kenny. Same with Father Fish, who I know pops in from time to time. That was a blast and great memories.
It really was. My only regret was we should have tried calling Tampa Tom and having lunch with him or something.
We should have.
I don't know my geography of Florida very well, and I didn't realize that Venice Beach was that close to him. I thought he was on the other side of the state. No.
And I didn't even think of it. It was such a rapid fire trip. It was down and back in like maybe 30 hours. We weren't there too terribly long.
But we still could have texted him while we were in the car.
We absolutely could have. But there was just the thought process was not there, I don't think. But it was a blast. Gina French with the $10. Oh, excuse me. She's changed to just Gina. I'll have to get used to that. Sorry, Gina. Gina with the $10 super sticker with that cute little fox hugging the heart. I love that. That's adorable. Thank you, Gina, for that. I appreciate you. And Gina also being a member, I think 7 months now from the very beginning. A lot of awesome people in here. Daniken, Gina, all those purple badges there. I appreciate you all. Roll on through here. Andrew Stanley says, I found a great deal on a 20-gallon tank with a stand on Craigslist. I saved a ton of money thanks to watching your videos and other YouTubers. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. That was the whole reason I started this, YouTube that is, was because people would come to me for advice, and I didn't want to like give out my phone number or anything like that. But I wanted to be able to share things. And so that's where the YouTube started, was just kind of a personal sharing platform, and it expanded from there. So I always love hearing that we've been able to help somebody in any way. Yeah, Craigslist is a great resource. Any of those secondhand things, keep an eye out on those. We've gotten a lot of free tanks. Bob and I, Steampod Aquatics, talked a little bit about that on his stream Monday. When you get to the point that you're turning down free tanks, you know that you're deep in the hobby. So just keep a lookout for great deals, because they are out there to be had.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that I miss from St. Louis to Chattanooga. St. Louis is about 5 times, maybe 8. I don't know. It's a lot bigger than this city. And there was always somebody getting rid of tanks when there's over 1 million people. And here, it seems like they want the price of the tank. Like, I could just buy it brand new. I don't see very many deals in Chattanooga for some reason.
Yeah, and it's the same here. I've seen tanks listed on Craigslist sometimes for more than what they are. Like, they'll be on the $1 per gallon sale, and people will be wanting a lot more than even the standard retail. And I'm like, no. It goes through phases, it seems. Sometimes they're just out there everywhere, and sometimes they're not there to be had, but it's always worth checking. Roll back through here. Aquarium is maintained by Andy, who is also on the Thursday. Well, technically he's into Friday morning for us, but he's on the live stream bandwagon with us. He follows Chattanooga Ed after this stream. We just keep it rolling all night long. He does a great show. Wait, that's Dave's Aquarium Thoughts. Andy's a different night. I'm sorry. I'm still not 100% back healthy again. Aquarium is maintained by Andy does have a great show, but Dave's Aquarium Thoughts is tonight after Ed. Either way, just go check out Andy. He's a great guy. Sorry, Andy. I didn't mean to confuse you with Dave. But Merry Christmas, Fishers, with the $2 super chat. Maybe I'll take a little less medication next time before the stream. Melissa Foster says, I keep Keelys. Do you guys do the same in order to preserve the species? So I have not gotten into Keelys. They are beautiful fish, and I definitely want to get to a point where I can focus on some conservation with some caresless fish and things of that nature. But I've not gotten there quite yet. I mean, I've still got a couple dozen empty tanks and a lot of racks to build, and life is just interesting at this point, as I know it is for all of us. But I've not gotten there yet. I definitely would like to get to that point where I can have, basically my plan at some point is to have just a rack of some tanks that have cares fish in them. Not specifically laying out how many or what sizes at this point. I'm keeping that open, but I would like to have a rack of, hey, these are my cares fish. These are fish that I am personally deciding that I want to help ensure, the ongoing survival of the species, preserve the species, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm a Livebearer guy, so
yep.
I don't have any right now. I do. I mean, I still have some different things, but I don't have any Achilles right now. I had some flagfish, but I returned them because they do an amazing job knocking out all the algae. You always hear about people saying you don't buy a fish to try to get rid of hair algae or something. Oh my! I got Florida flagfish, and they clean it like that. I mean, maybe you guys will buy them and it won't work. But they were crazy how they cleaned, and I would put them from tank to tank because I'd rather feed them free algae. But the problem is they're such fin nippers. They thrash anything with a long fin, and I just don't like that, so I returned them.
I don't blame you there. I mean, it happens. Sometimes we make choices. We buy fish, and it turns out, hey, that's just not the fish that I thought I wanted.
Well, and they really destroy delicate plants too. Like I had Japanese pennywort. It was gone within like 15 minutes. They like that better than algae. It's probably just more delicious.
Absolutely. So crown tail half moon, and I'm going to intentionally mispronounce this word because YouTube has flagged some people for the word in their little AI section here. But it says, have you any advice on Cavallanus worms for rams? So I have been fortunate enough not to deal with them. I think the last video that I watched dealing with them, and there's a lot of content out there. I'll be perfectly honest. If I had to deal with them today, what I would personally do is I would go on YouTube and I would watch about 5 or 6 videos. I'd go to different sources. I'd see what's the most common idea in terms of what's best to do it. And we've probably got 7 people in the chat that have already answered this question. That's why I love this community, because again, we're not experts, but we've got over 100 people here. I'm sure there are people that have dealt with it. But the last video that I personally watched or heard anybody talking about working on it specifically was Fish Tropic. He may or may not be in here. He lurks a lot. But there are a lot of great YouTubers in this chat that have channels, and I know several of them, I'm sure, have done videos about it, treating it. I just personally have been blessed not to have had to deal with them, and I don't have any advice because of that, unfortunately. So it's a blessing and a curse, a catch-22, if you will. Ed, have you had any experience on them?
Nope, and I would do the exact same thing, what you said. I would go straight up. I've never had rams in my life. So
Absolutely.
I'm not a real big warm fish guy, warm water fish guy. I've had the discus. I had them for a long time. And it just, they were beautiful. I liked them. They were pretty neat. They would watch the TV as I'd watch it, so they were kind of personable, but they just weren't worth the work. It just, and I know that rams aren't going to be as hard as discus, but it's just setting up a warm tank is something that I don't really want to do.
I can understand that.
And I say warm because, all my guppies are in warm tanks, but it's still 70s, not 80s. So I just try to stay away from the 80s.
Absolutely. Fantastic Freaks with the $2 super chat says, in case I missed you all next week, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Fantastic. Merry Christmas to you in case we don't see you before then. The way the schedule works out, we will be streaming Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas because we do a Thursday and Saturday stream every week. I don't believe Ed will be here for the Thursday Christmas Eve stream, but I am going to have a special guest, Rico Stan, And I thought that only fit him because he'd actually sponsored several giveaways. He's done some in the past, and he's also got 3 giveaways that we're going to be doing next Thursday. So if you haven't already, subscribe and ding that notification bell just so you get the reminder. And we're going to do several giveaways Christmas Eve next week.
I thought he was going to fall in.
ERS Aquatics says, I was the one who won the half moon, super moon, a red male betta fish that I won, and I am kind of new to fish keeping. Congratulations on the win. If you have any questions about that, feel free to throw them in the chat. Or, I mean, you're always welcome to send me a message. I'm Fish Room Fever on every platform. Facebook Messenger is probably the quickest way to get a response. Instagram, a lot of times I don't get the messages right away. It blocks them, and then I have to go find them and approve them. But I'm here to help, and I try and answer as many questions as I can. Leaving a comment on videos is another great way to get in touch with me with a question, because I'm always going through and responding to comments. If you comment, I'll respond to it. So anytime you need help, I'm here. A lot of ways you can reach out. Again, congratulations, and we're glad to have you. It's exciting and can be a little bit, there's a learning curve when you're a new fish keeper. I'll just put it that way. See, Rebecca Jackson says, 0 to 4 since June. I want more. It's addicting. I want a betta sorority tank, a cichlid tank, a crawfish tank, and want a salamander and gecko tanks, to name a few. LOL. Yes, it's definitely an addicting hobby, especially if you've got an addictive personality. That's the Fish Room Fever. That was kind of my play on multi-tank syndrome. It was the next step. It was, I got multi-tank syndrome, and then it went from one fish room to multiple fish rooms. So that's where that came from. So I definitely feel that, and those sound like some awesome setups that you're working towards or that you're wanting. Levi's Outdoors and Aquatics says, have you ever thought of trying to breed your own strain of guppy or platy? I have thought of trying to make my own strain of guppy. Yes, absolutely. I've got some things I'm working on. I've managed to get some really nice fluorescent pinkish purple male, I guess guppy inler hybrids. So I'm working with those and adding them to another strain, kind of doing the LRB thing. We're going to play with some stuff and see what we can come up with. And Ed, I think you probably have wanted to do the same, being the Livebearer guy. But that's great that you're doing that as well, Levi. And I hope that you succeed in creating something awesome. And even if not, it's still fun playing with it, trying to get that desired fish or just see what happens. All right, I'm about caught up here, almost. Aquarium Maintained by Andy says, I have my first batch of grown out koi angelfish. That is awesome. Congratulations. I've got tons of angels. I don't ever pull the eggs just because it's one of those things. We have so many angelfish breeders in the local area. I would be overrun with angelfish, and they generally don't raise them on their own. I love baby fish. I love breeding fish. I love angelfish. So congratulations on that, Andy. Foxy's Fishes with the $1 super chat, adding some fertilizer to the stream. I appreciate that super sticker, Foxy. Pleasure seeing you. I hope you were doing well, having happy holidays. So I want to talk real quick. What do you think 2021 holds for us? I know it's hard to tell with the current situation, if you will. I know Saturday we're going to discuss some events. Now, whether or not those events actually take place, or are some events that got rescheduled this year. We were supposed to go to, not the Aquatic Experience, Aquashella. You and I were supposed to go to Aquashella in Dallas. And of course, that got canceled. We were going to be having an event here in Knoxville. We had to reschedule that because of it. We couldn't even get any of the company representatives to come out given the health situation, and there were a lot of other factors. So we're working on getting that potentially set for next year.
We were going to go to the Deep South Guppy Show with all of our friends from Tennessee. All of our we were planning to do several things with all of our YouTuber friends from Tennessee. Like I see Bird Garden here right now. That's Rack and Bob Kaler, Sean Peck, Ginger Graves, Tiffany White, and we've met some other great people. So hopefully, maybe we can get Catfish Terry and H2O and John Cox to come out. And I bet you anything, John from Select Pet, even though he's Kentucky, we still like him. So we were planning to do one thing every 4 months. We were gonna with one thing every 3 months, 4 times a year. And the Deep South was going to be one of our big things. And that's in Murfreesboro, just outside of Nashville. So that was canceled too. That was a bummer.
Unfortunately. Real quick, Jennifer Cottrell, I tried to go up and find your question. I could not. I see where people were letting you know. Put at Fishroom Fever. It highlights and it sticks out for me so that I can find it and answer it. And no, you don't have to be a member of Super Chat to get a question answered. But if it's not highlighted, I probably won't catch it because I'm already at this point just sticking with highlighted questions about 10 minutes behind the chat. I try and catch everything I can, but unfortunately, if it's not highlighted a lot of times, it flies by me. You see here, up there, and she did ask it. I have a 190 sitting empty. That's a nice size tank. I've been thinking of doing a discus tank. Can you make recommendations on where to get them? What might be a good tank mate and what kind of scape? So, Hans, do you know if Hans sells online? I know Hans is kind of like the discus guy.
My discus that I got back in the 90s were from him, actually, and I got them in Chicago. I don't know if it was the ACA. It was one of the cichlid conventions. They have a lot of huge clubs in Chicago. And he was there, and that's where I got them from him. And they were amazing. I mean, I got the blue tiger skins, or not tiger, snake skins, and the red snake skins. And they were incredible. And so, like Lisa was talking about him tonight. And I mean, he's been there for years, and he's the best. He even gave me a big flyer with all of his different fish. It was like a really beautiful one. And I just saw it. I was unpacking some of my stuff not too long ago. I'll have to try to see if I can find it. I hope I didn't throw it away.
Absolutely. But, if anybody's got information pertaining to Discus Hans, or you've got another good source, we've got the Zen Ginger here. She keeps discus. I'm sure she's got some great advice on some tank mates and possibly some other sources for them. Bearing in mind that anything not local right now, with temperatures and especially with shipping delays have been a disaster this past couple of weeks. And I won't digress because I'm already behind. But just keep those things in mind. It may be one of those, if you've got the tank empty, I personally would recommend get it set up, get it planted, and let it run and let it get seasoned. Maybe you could buy some of your tank mates locally for it, Plecos or whatnot.
You could get stir-buys like it warm.
Absolutely.
And what I did was I had spotted Raphaels because, like I saw earlier, Paul said, "Oh, Chattanooga, they're not hard." Well, they are a lot more difficult than other fish, at least when I was doing it, because I made my own food and I had to keep it warm. And the water I had lots of lime in it and lots of calcium. So I was always fighting super hard water too. So, African cichlids are a lot easier when you have lime in your water. So it's all relative. But I still love them. And like at stir-buys, you could get cardinal tetras are a huge one you see all the time because they like it hot and soft water. But I've just never had much luck with them. Have you ever had luck with those things?
I haven't really tried them much to have or not have luck. I guess is the best way to put it. I love cories. I've got panda cories and I've got some other cories. But I'm not a huge cory person. The stir-buys are awesome fish. Like you said, they go great in warm water. That's a great one. In terms of you asking about the scape, I would definitely recommend a planted tank. I think that you would get a lot of enjoyment out of a tank that size being a nice planted tank. And if you started it now, like I mentioned, let it get seasoned and let those plants grow out, you would be able to go with some less expensive options and let it grow versus trying to buy a whole bunch of big full plants to put in there. And I think you'll really get some enjoyment out of that. And I think the discus will as well.
And you know what? I'm going to give like a sneak preview of tonight's stream for next hour. A great snail for discus are Malaysian trumpet snails.
There you go.
They can handle a pH of just 6 and up to 85 degrees. That's perfect. A perfect snail for them.
It really is.
It's like the high pH, but the Malaysians like it soft. So
Absolutely. Kira Corridorable with the $2 super sticker with that cute little dancing fox with the hearts. Thank you for that, Kira. And again, I love that name. That's such a cute name. See here. Paul Stero says, I'm considering trout goodies. They're the only goodie species that will work with my water parameters. That is an awesome one. I do not have them, nor have I. But they're definitely something that's in my mind there. Cody Frazier says, I had a fungal problem today that needed attention ASAP, and I grabbed Pumafix for my guppies and cories. So while I am not a huge fan of the Melafix and the Pumafix, I'm also not going to down it. Like John and Lisa, I know they've mentioned many times using the Fix products. It's just not in my arsenal, if you will. But I certainly hope that gets it knocked out for you, and I hope everything gets back to healthy. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. I know I've got a lot more ahead of me still. You are welcome for the stickers, Sandmouse 350 Twin. I'm glad you got them. A Merry Christmas to you as well. Crown Toe Half Moon says, thank you for answering. Oh, you are more than welcome. And I will do some more research and see what we can come up with there. Bird Garden, as you mentioned, who's in here, dropped the $5 super sticker with that party pair. He's just jamming out, blowing his little party thing with his little party hat. Good to see you, Bird Garden. So we've got a new product that's coming to the Fish Room Fever site. We debuted it the other day. At that point in time, I wasn't associated with it, I guess is the best way to put it. But if you haven't checked out Bag of Beach, I will say go check out that live stream. That's an awesome thing, and we'll talk more about that. But we're going to be carrying that exclusively on fishroomfever.com. Not to shamelessly plug, but that's a product that I thought was awesome, and I wanted to mention it. And we will get you a lot more information. So go check out that previous live stream, because I know I've only got about 12 minutes until Ed's stream starts, and I don't want to miss any of these questions. But thank you, Rack, Bird Garden / Pond Life. I appreciate everything you do, and I've had a blast with that Bago Beach digging for fossils. I really enjoyed that live stream earlier, talking fossils. I think that was really great, what you all did earlier today before the KT Tropical stream. Mainly Beta says, could someone post Fish Room Fever store, please? I can never get to come up on my browser. It's so odd. So the store is, I don't want to say hidden, but it's on the second page. The way it's set up, I didn't want to pull away from the community aspect of fishroomfever.com with the live stream times for all of the fish fam. But in the top left corner, there's a shop option where if you pull it up on mobile, you have to hit the little hamburger menu icon, and then there's a shop option. And that's how you get to it. I have halted shipping basically all live plants and fish at this point because of the postal delays. We do have some different accessories and whatnot, and of course the Bag of Beach, and we're going to continue to add stuff to the dry goods section. Spring is going to be amazing. When we reopen the store, we're going to do a huge sale, and we're probably going to have about 30 different species of fish and a whole bunch of different plants, all bred and grown here in the fish rooms. So looking forward to that, and we'll talk more on that another time. I knew it was going to jump. It paused on me. Let me get back up to Mary Beth's question or comment real quick here.
I just posted the link to your shop.
There we go. Mary Beth McCubbin says, I didn't have a tank at Halloween, and now I have 4. The newest have my newborn corridors. Congratulations. It's awesome getting new cories. You two have become my favorite live stream. Thanks. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, and I'm honored. We're glad to have you here, and that's just so cool. Went from not even having tanks at Halloween to now you're having baby corridors. So congratulations. It sounds awesome. Like you're doing it up right. I've always said if you've got fish making babies, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here, and thank you for that compliment. That really does mean a lot to me, and that's why we do it.
They're saying that no links are working tonight for some reason in chat.
Now, I will say one of the moderators did message me earlier and say she was having issues getting links to pop up in chat. And this was in all chats. This wasn't just here. So it may be a YouTube issue going on. But come to think of it, yeah, I haven't seen any links in the chat whatsoever. That's odd. But it's just fishroomfever.com. If you're looking for the website, just fishroomfever.com. And then page 2 has the store, but on page 1, you can find a list of live streams with clickable links to go to those YouTubers' channels so that you can find when a good live stream is on in the fish fam. Gina French, I will tell Shy Hi for you. Jennifer Cottrell says, oh, there's the 90-gallon question again. Aquarium is maintained by Andy says, I've been breeding a lot lately, even have a mono shrimp growing out. We'll need luck on these guys. Yes, definitely. Good luck with that. I hope you get it figured out. And I hope you can get that to work for you. I'm kind of speeding through these because we've got 10 minutes left, and I'm horrible about stepping on Ed's toes for his hour stream. So I'm trying to burn through the questions here, get them answered and not go over. Aquamate says, we have a big event coming up down under. It's a traditional thing we do in Australia on the same day every year. It's called Christmas. Have you guys heard of it? Yes, absolutely. Huge event. That is the best day to get, new fish and tanks. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Aquamate. It's good to see you, Josh. I hope you're doing well. I need to get you back on the channel at some point. I enjoy talking to you. Paul Sotero says, Fish from Fever, Myrtle Beach Discus. There you go. There's another one. Aquarium is maintained by Andy says, hashtag Jack Watley Discus. Absolutely. There are a lot of good discus breeders out there. Roll through here. Fishkeeper Cole says, my local fish store just closed, and I was able to snag one of their 20-gallon longs. It has a bulkhead in it for the canister filter. Do you have any canisters you recommend? Thanks. Fluval is a great canister brand. I've got, I believe it's a Marineland. I'm not a huge canister guy. I've used several in the past. I was a huge fan of the Magnum 350 canister filters, but I would go with the Fluval. The FX line is a great line. I've heard people say good things about the Sun, I guess generic, if you will, canisters, but I've also heard bad things. Fluval is kind of a proven product, and you can find some good prices on those right now. So I would look into those, depending upon what exactly you need for flow, different models. But check out the Fluvals. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, the Marineland, I've got a Marineland one that's working great also. So I think that they're a lot better than what they were 20-some years ago. And you mentioned the Magnums. That was the only good one a long time ago. At least I felt. So that was kind of neat. Do they still make those? James? The Magnum.
Sorry, I was
the Magnum canister filters.
I don't know that they do. I haven't looked to purchase one in a long time. But they had the Magnum 350s that I enjoyed. And then they had the Magnum Hot, HOT, Hang On Tank. And that was a really cool one. I never saw that. And it was basically a canister that had a flat side that hung against your tank and had the inlet and outlet. This is where it kind of held it on the tank. Those are great. There were a lot of problems with seals on those. Greg Sage has got some videos that he still uses a bunch of those, and you could do some hot rodding to them, but they're really cool.
I loved the clear plastic of the Magnum, being able to see inside the filter. I loved it.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they don't do that.
Roll through here. Multi-tank addiction was mentioning using Melafix to save some fish. Absolutely. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's not in my arsenal personally, but I'm not dogging on the product.
Which world says they don't make them anymore. That's a bummer.
We have got no links. So here's what I would do, because we've got Chattanooga Ed coming up in 7 minutes, and we're not going to be able to post a link, but we are going to go to his channel, and I'm going to see if I can post a link personally. I don't know. Apparently it's been happening for several hours. Nobody's been able to post any links in the YouTube chats. It happens. Even YouTube has issues sometimes.
Oh,
so let me grab a link here. But, Chattanooga Ed, he's the one and only. That's where we're going to go here in just a minute. I'm not done with the questions, but I want to try and grab a link for his because I appreciate you all rolling over there. And we're going to have a great topic, like I mentioned. And Ed's got a lot of knowledge for us. Let me copy this. Let me see if this goes in the chat. Paste. I don't know if it will make any difference with it being my channel, if it will accept it versus the moderators not being able to post it. Scroll through here. Priscilla MK, who I hang out with every Sunday now. We moved it around. She does an awesome live stream. She does fish art. Thank you for the $5 super sticker with that cute little fox doing the painting of the #1. I appreciate that, Priscilla, and I really enjoy hanging out with you on your streams. I always have a blast co-hosting that while you do your artwork.
She is a good friend.
She really is. She's quite knowledgeable. She runs a fish store as well as has Swiss Aquatics, which you can go check out online. She's got some awesome stuff there. Once again, supporting the non-giant corporate businesses and helping out the little guys, so to speak. Rolling through here, my chat jumped. I'm going to try and grab as many of these questions as possible. Fantastic Freaks says, my fiance thinks I'm getting too spoiled as I just got another puffer. LFS last 2 times have messaged me when they bring in puffers. Congratulations, and I can understand. For a while, I was getting messages on plecos, but hey, we got these new plecos in. You know, we got this special, you know, pleco, and I'd be like, okay, I want it. Okay, I want it. Somebody mentioned Deep South Guppy show. Yes, I would love to get to the Deep South Guppy show. It's unfortunate a lot of stuff got canceled this year, but we're gonna get as many shows as we can next year. I think it's going to be a lot of playing it by ear. I think one of the big things, somebody mentioned, you know, they got a great deal from a local fish store closing down. That was one of the things I wanted to touch a little bit more on, and why I mentioned supporting your local fish stores. Even in, we'll say, normal times, you know, small businesses have it rough, specifically in times like this with all the parameters that are in place for health reasons. And, you know, a lot of people having financial problems right now. Fish stores are not necessarily the top of the food chain in terms of getting people's business. So if you are going to make some fish purchases and you have a local fish store, especially if you have a good local fish store, I really recommend supporting those guys to help keep them in business and help them get through these times right now. You know, anything we can do to help them out only helps out the hobby. I wouldn't know what to do if something happened to my local fish store. I would be crushed, because not only is it a great store, the guy that owns it is an awesome guy, and he's a huge part of the community and a huge support for myself, the channel, the community, and just fish keepers in general. Like somebody said it best the day he stayed for the live stream. He actually stayed at the shop an extra 2 hours after it closed to be on our live stream. So anybody that owns a business that's willing to do that, just to kind of get some knowledge out there and answer questions for the community, you can't go wrong keeping somebody like that around.
For sure. Everybody's figuring out different ways to get to my stream.
There we go.
I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming my link did not work either. It looks like it's in there. Let me see if I can click on it.
It'd be cool if someday we're just big enough that we can just be on Fisher and Fever. Because that's the goal, is to have just like a kind of be DJs, at least for me.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to be on a radio show. And this is the next best thing, I think.
I just love hanging out with everybody. Von Lurker was asking, a good store online for wild discus. I do not know 100%, as I've not gone to purchase them. Zen, I think, purchased hers in person, but anybody that's got a good name for the specific online source, I know we talked about some individuals. Please let us know. As says, my link did not post either. Okay, so it's just posting for myself.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. It just posted for me.
So I'm going to screw this up probably, but Erie Alacritus says, is there any fish events on the West Coast? Absolutely. And we are going to talk fish events Saturday. That is going to be the topic of the stream. We're going to discuss the wins and wares and all the awesome fishy events that are already scheduled for 2021, the things we plan to attend, and some of the things we might have to miss if, you know, things conflict with the timing on them. But there are some great events planned, and I hope that you'll check it out Saturday with us as we're coming to the end of our stream tonight. But that's going to be the focus. We're going to be talking about different events, what we're going to go to, what's out there, East Coast, West Coast, down south, up north, all that wonderful stuff. Yes, this hour definitely did fly by really quickly. Scott says, you didn't even see my name in the chat. Yes, so YouTube is definitely having some issues. I do want to say, please go check out Chattanooga Ed. You can search Chattanooga Ed in the YouTube bar. We're going to head over there in just a second, and we're going to spend some time talking about snails and what snails might be best for you and what ones you might want to avoid. Before we do that, I want to say a huge thank you, though, for all the support, all the new subscribers, the lurkers, the listeners, the people that have come in with the questions and comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. The moderator team, of course, I appreciate everything you do, even if none of you could post links tonight. I mean, come on. You couldn't post a single link for me tonight? I'm just kidding. I appreciate you all, and I apologize because I'm sure that is stressing you all out, knowing you. and how much effort you put into the show to help it run smoothly and to get people where they need to be at. Let me run through here real quick and say thank you to these people. We are going to do another members only stream in the near future this week. I'm going to try and get it set up so that you all get notified. But once again, YouTube technical difficulties, issues, definitely issues. But let's roll this down here. Huge thank you to S, Mike's Aquatics and Things, Furloughs Aquatics, Delilah's Critters, Tim Carter. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't miss Delilah's before. We did get that comment. Mainly Bettas, Daniken Aquatics, Gina French, Aquariums Maintained by Andy, Fantastic Freaks, Foxy's Fishes, Kira Corridorable, Bird Garden, Priscilla MK. Thank you all very much for the super chats and stickers and the support. I appreciate everything you do. First, Chattanooga Ed, thank you for being here. I'll let you throw out your theme. You're saying? Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Well, James, don't be afraid to get your hands wet. Keep your tanks clean.
Absolutely. And until next time, keep your fish healthy, keep yourselves healthy, and catch yourself a little fish room fever. Take care, everybody.